And where did you have this idea of, I'm going vending machine with it?
So back when I used to play ball, which we just was talking about a little bit before the show started, we had practice every Sunday. It was more than every Sunday, but with this particular team, we had practice every Sunday, and in the recreation center. Recreation center had a Gatorade machine in it. So it was a lady who would come service the machine every Sunday. So every week I would be sitting there when she came to service the machine this time. And I definitely wasn't waiting for her or anything like that. I just would happen to be there every time. She'll come in and then she'll take the money out and then, put new Gatorades in there. And I would always see her take the money out. I'm like, man, that's a nice little wad of money. So in the back of my mind, I would think, it's probably 16, 17. I was like, man, I want to get me a machine. But then, I never really did anything with it, and it didn't really come back up until I got older. And now I'm seeing, man, working ain't really getting me to where I need to be.
Sure.
And I'm trying to, invest my way out of that situation. And I don't have the means to do the real estate thing, but I do have the means to do the machine thing. So.
Gotcha. So your ultimate goal was let me get into real estate.
Uh-huh.
Are you in real estate now?
I'm in real estate now, yeah.
Gotcha. So your ultimate goal is let me save some money for real estate. I just got this idea. I remember the lady had the Gatorade joint. She had a couple dollars. So I'm down.
Right. And I kind of spoke it into existence, man, because I was telling everybody, I'm about to get some machines. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And, and it just happened over time. And it didn't happen as fast as I wanted it to happen, but it definitely happened over time.
They have routes that you can buy, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can just, they're already existing machines and you just buy the route from somebody.
Right.
Did you ever consider that?
I brought out 2 or 3 routes at this point.
Oh, so you actually bought a couple routes?
Yeah, even with the candy machines, I brought. That's how I grew that fast. So I've done that with the candy machines 2 or 3 times too. So I started off with 4 of those, and then I brought out a route, and then I got a couple of my own, and I brought out another route.
How many was in the first route that you bought?
Probably 7.
So somebody has 7 machines, and it's I'm gonna sell you all of them. What are the questions that you need to ask before you buy a route?
For me personally, I go off a few different things. So I'm gonna test them to see how I believe, if they're business savvy or not. If they don't have a P&L, they don't have a profit and loss statement, any of that, then I'm like, I don't know if I can really believe what you're telling me. So what I have to do is at that point, I have to look at the machines themselves. I have to look at the locations themselves. And I'm basing my offer, because you could put it for sale for whatever you want to put it for. I'm basing my offer off of the value of the machines and what I believe the locations would do in terms of sales. But the bottom line, is the value of the machines, because I know if it doesn't go well, that's going to be my exit strategy. I can move the machine or I can sell the machine.
I see. Okay, so the actual machines itself have a particular value. So it's like real estate. It's not about the neighborhood. If the machine is worth enough, you can just take the machine and take it to another neighborhood.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So what are you looking for in a machine?
It just really depends on the value of that particular machine. So it's not necessarily I'm looking for anything particular. If I'm looking at purchasing a machine, only time I'm looking for something particular when I'm purchasing a machine is when I'm basing it off of what a location needs. So let's say I find that account or whatever, and it's a good account, and it's a modern account. You want to have a machine that fits that environment. You want to have the card reader on there. You want it to be nice and clean, you want it to look right in that environment. So that's the only time I'm really more so analyzing what the machine has in terms of features and how it looks and that type of thing. But if I'm buying a route out, I'm more so going to look and say, okay, this machine is worth $1,000. So and this one is worth $2,000. This one is worth $500 or something like that. And then I'm gonna make them that offer based off of what I think the machines are worth.
Gotcha. So I do ask a lot of personal questions.
That's fine.
Okay, so the first route, how much did you buy it for? And what was just tell me about the whole deal. The first one. So
the first route I brought out, it was I had a few mentors coming into the vending.
I'm about to do some calculations.
Go ahead.
Because I'm interested. I'm really am interested in. It just seems like automated money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's got to be the right account though. It got to be the right account. So every location ain't a good location.
Yeah, got you.
But the first route I brought out, so I had 3 mentors going into it. So I was lucky enough to find 3 people that was really like pretty much telling me, yo, do this, do that, do the third.
Gotcha.
2 of them were older. Like really, like one guy was like really old. His father actually started the business. So I never met his dad. His dad like retired and moved to Florida. He was still running the business, but he was like, he had to be up in his 60s maybe, close to 70, I would say. But he was about to retire. So he's like, well, I'm about to go retire with my dad and move to Florida too. Like, so after I would say about a year of him, me meeting, and getting to know him, he was getting in that phase where he was like, okay, well, I'm about to, fall back. I'm selling the business. So at that point, he let me buy a piece of his route. So basically a piece of his company that he already had established. I think he sold the whole thing for like, I don't know, it was like over $1 million or something. But he let me buy a small piece. So I brought 7 accounts from him. And that's the first time I got into university because he had Penn, which was one of our universities in Philly. So that was my first time getting into school. Like in an actual big school.
Dawn. How many vending machines he had?
Can't tell you, man. A couple hundred. My other mentor probably has a few hundred too. He did, I think last year, the year before COVID, he did like just over 2 million.
Over 2 million on vending machines.
Yeah, but they have like hundreds of machines. Like it's crazy.
Okay, so I want to know how to manage it. I got more questions. So why did he section off these 7 and sell you the 7? And how much did you buy them for?
I asked him. So I
was like, let me get a couple of them.
Yeah, like you retire, let me buy some of that. But I think he sold them. So he didn't sell them to me for a lot. It was actually only around like maybe I think it was like 8,000 or 9,000, something like that. But the value of it was way higher. Like,
yeah, so he might have been just looking out for you then.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much what it was.
Because he's selling them to you for almost a little over 1,000 a machine, right? Not even considering,
not even counting with the actual. Because usually people will calculate the profits or how much the machine's make into it and different things like that. He didn't really do none of that. He just said, "Just give me this, and you could take that."
Dang.
So that's how I came up a little bit off of that. Because before that, I probably had that pushed me over the point to where I had like around like 15 or something like that. So I felt comfortable falling back away from like working and things like that.
Give me a route give me like a more normal situation. Because right now it just seems like old buddy just had bread and like, here, young black kid, you want to, let me give you a start or whatever, right? But give me a deal where it was like a deal. Like, I mean, not a deal, but like you had to negotiate the price of the machine plus the value.
So the most recent one, it was a lady, I found her on Craigslist. So I went to Craigslist. And I do this like every once so often. I just go in there and search vending machines, because sometimes people will be selling, they'll sell routes on there, or they'll sell locations or something.
On what, on Craigslist?
So I found a lady selling a route. She was selling it for 20-something thousand. So I think
she's selling the route for Craigslist. She on Craigslist, selling the route for 20,000.
It was 20-something. It was like just over 20,000.
I'm actually going to Craigslist.
And then she had, I want to say it was,
Vending.
It might have been 5 or 6. I don't really remember the total number. But I know I ended up paying $15,000 for it. And the way I did it was, I did the same thing. I went negotiate, but she actually had a profit and loss statement. So she had software on all the machines, and that lets you see like what the sales were and everything. So I could tell exactly how much the route was making. Her route was making $30,000 a year.
And how many machines?
So I know her price was really like kind of justified.
How many machines?
I want to say she had around 6, something like that. It was around 6 machines.
6 machines that was making $30,000 a year, which is $5,000 a year or $400 something a month. Yeah, $5,000 a month. No. If they're making $30,000 a year, 6 machines only yields $5,000 for the whole year. Because you have how many machines? 6 machines. And they all do $5,000 a year. That's $30,000 a year.
Say that again?
Yeah, $30,000 a year. Each machine did $30,000.
You're saying each machine did $30,000?
No, not each machine, altogether.
Right.
The route did $30,000.
Right. So if we got 6 machines, and these 6 machines are doing $30,000 a year, that means each machine is averaging $5,000 a year.
Oh, a
Or-
year. Okay,
yeah.
I thought you were saying a month. That kind of threw me off. Oh, yeah.
So they all do about $400 a month.
Something
Is
like
that
that.
is that profit?
No, that's not profit. That was gross. That was gross. But one thing I like, when people are selling routes, is I'll always find room for improvement. So even sometimes, so I almost brought a route out again, like after that. Well, I'll get back to that story in a second. But sometimes, like what I learned when I was on the candy machines is how to find some of these people who will be willing to sell the routes, even without going online. If I go up to a candy machine or I go up to a vending machine and it looks like it's distressed, which means it's dirty, like it doesn't look like it's being maintained well, but it's in a good location, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna call this person and see if they want to sell this, because that looks like they're not keeping up with it, or they don't want to keep up with it. Maybe something is going on the back end. They can't manage it anymore. Especially if it's in a good location. So with her situation, I felt like her machines were doing good numbers. It was doing solid, because I like it for it to be right there at that 500 mark, which most of her machines were doing 500 or more. But some of her products, I felt like if I tweaked them, I can increase those sales.
So she didn't know what she was doing.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't hard. Her stuff was definitely clean, but I just felt like she wasn't tapping into each demographic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, she more so just had it one sheet of products and then just put that everywhere. Whereas though I tweak mine depending on what type of environment that is.
Gotcha. So it seems like a good purchase price for a route is based on a year's worth of sales, maybe?
You want to look at the year's worth of sales and then look at the value of the machines.
Right. So I'm saying, like, if a route is doing 30,000, paying 25, 30,000 for the route is good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not bad. Definitely, yeah. So 25 wasn't bad, but
which means my man has sold his joint for $1 million. His route was probably doing $1 million.
Oh yeah. It was. I know he did less than the other guy, which I said did the two. His company was smaller than his, but I know it wasn't like that far off. He was definitely over $1 million. Yeah, he's definitely going over $1 million.
Okay, but, there's nothing on Craigslist.
Where you search? You search Georgia or something?
Yeah, I searched Atlanta.
Atlanta, okay. I'm surprised. Atlanta, y'all be hot over here with the vending machines. Yeah.
Maybe that's why ain't nobody selling any routes.
Maybe.
Where else can I go to see some routes? Because I want to see some prices of routes.